in all my years of being part of the Sufi tradition, I get lots of questions, especially from Westerners, wondering what is Sufism?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a common association to the Mevlana dervishes, the whirling dervishes of Turkey, and there's also a question in people's minds as to what the relationship to Islam is of Sufism. For example, if it's something that comes out of Islam, if somebody has to be Muslim to be a Sufi,
Mm-hmm.
and if somebody has to be initiated into Islam before they can really take interest and appreciate Sufism.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that we define for the Western audiences, people that are really attracted to Sufism, is it something open for everyone to appreciate and learn from, or is it just for a select minority who come from an Islamic background and come from an initiation into the Islamic religion?
A very common question from the Westerners who have no orientation towards what Sufism is, or those who are under sort of lack of knowledge into the spiritual traditions. My question to you would be, like, when we talk about the spirit, is there any gender involved into spirit, that this is a male spirit and this is a female spirit? Is there any religion involved into categorization of the spirit, that it is a Christian spirit, it is a Jewish spirit, or it is a Buddhist spirit, or it is an Islamic spirit?
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about a human being. You, me, whoever is listening to us, whoever will be watching to us, all of us are human. And what is the human cosmology? In what fashion the Creator created us? We are a combination of our physical existence, our very gross level of existence, this physical body. Then we have a mind, right, through which and by which our body operates, which is also the seat of the emotions. And then we have this subtle level of existence, which is spirit. Now, the first gross level of existence is bound to time and space. It is the tangible reality. And it varies, like everybody has different fingerprints. All of us are equal in the terms that we have the same number of the organs, and we share that similarity and unity within the humanity. But at the same time, we are different. We are located at different geographical positions. Like, I come from east, you are from west, then we have a difference of culture, we have difference of architecture, or whatever. I mean, in every way, there are differences.
Yeah.
Then we have the mind, and which is categorized, which can be categorized according to our exposures, our knowledge, right, and our control of ourselves. There are people who are not very literate, right, but they are very wise. Then there are people who are very literate. They have the degrees, but they are so dumb. Then there are people who are living in jungles. They do not have any communication with the societies, like people from Africa. They have their own knowledge and they have their own wisdom. So there is a difference. But when we come to our spirit, which is a timeless and a spaceless being, there is no gender, there is no religion, there is no form. It is out of comprehension. Nobody has seen that. That is one thing which is unchangeable and which is very same regardless of any discrimination created by our minds. So let first establish this thing, that spirituality in its essence has no religion, because religion in its definition is the outward conduct of a human being, how to deal with the environment, how to deal with the other human beings, how to deal with the animals, what economic systems should be there, right? So that is my outward existence and the code of laws for my physical deeds. So this makes it a form, like my body has a form. So religion has a form. Religion is actually a form. It's not the meaning. If we go by the Western understanding of the religion, and we tell the same definition to somebody who was here in Nevada City 200 years ago, probably he wouldn't be able to understand what you are saying.
Yeah.
Because religion is a code of life. It is not the code of laws only. So there is a form and then there is a meaning. So from Adam up till now, in whatever human period of history or the history of the religions, monotheistic or the others, there was a form and there was a meaning, and the meaning was the same. And the form, since the humanity was evolving, so the language used to address the primitive minds was different to the Middle Ages and then to the later ages, right? And since the time was changing, the universe was changing, the needs were changing, the way of life of people were changing. They were nomadic, before that they were in caves, and after that they were agrarian, and then the revolution, industrial revolution came in, different economic systems were introduced, so the needs were being changed, and according to that the outer laws were being changed. Islam says itself that it is the religion of the nature, right? And you cannot be a Muslim if you do not have faith and believe in one supreme deity, Allah, right? If you do not have faith and believe in the angels, if you do not have faith and believe in the day of the judgment, and if you do not have belief in all the prophets which came before the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you cannot be a Muslim if you do not have the faith and believe in all the holy scriptures which came before the Holy Quran. This reflects what? This reflects what? I mean, the rational mind would probably say, why I have to believe in Moses to be a Muslim? The Prophet of Islam is Muhammad. Why I have to believe in the Holy Prophet Hazrat Isa, peace be upon him? I am a Muslim. What it implies? It implies that every holy prophet in his time and age brought the religion of the nature. And that is Islam, the religion of the nature. Now, the religion is also in two forms. There is an outward aspect which contains the laws. Judaism, the outer law is usury is not allowed. In Judaism, outer law is that the animal should be slaughtered in a particular way before you eat it. Right? In Judaism, fasting is the law. These are the outer laws which are implied to my physical existence. But what about the spiritual dimension of any religion? Spirit is unchanging. So the spiritual tradition remains the same from the very beginning till the very end. Whether it was Prophet Abraham and the spiritual dimension of the Abrahamic religion was the same. The spiritual dimension of the religion of Prophet Musa is the same. The tradition of spiritual dimension of the religion of Prophet Isa, Jesus Christ, is the same. The outer forms change. And with that, the names also change. So Islam is a new name, but Islam in its meaning and in its form in the history of the humans was ever present. And so was the spirituality. But when we come to this term, I mean, we are talking here academically. We have talked about the essence, right? But when we come to the term of Sufism, this to me is a very poor translation of the Tasawwuf, since it brings the same understanding of religion and categorize it into ism.
Yeah.
It is very broad. It is not ism, it is not cult, it is not sect, it is not religion. It is the very human subject which is related to its very essence. So instead of using Sufism, I'll use the original term, Tasawwuf. Yeah. So when we say that this is the essence of all the religions, spirituality is the meaning of all the forms of the human belief system, right? Then we have to realize this thing, that the essence cannot be protected if there is no outer shell. For example, if I have a brain, like in my mind, which is probably the most important organ for the present day human beings, can it survive without the skull? It cannot. So we are exposing the spirituality, in a sense, to all the influences of the evil, if there is no protection. So the protection of the spiritual dimension of Kabbalah is a Jewish law, right? The spiritual dimension of the monks or the Essenes, right, is the Christian law. The protection of the spiritual dimension of Islam is the Islamic Sharia. So here, Tasawwuf is an Islamic thing. Because in Tasawwuf, in this time and age, it can only be protected, and we are not exposing it to go decayed or rusted out if we do not have that layer of protection. The dilemma here is that even in the East and even in the West, what is happening in East is that people, they stop their self to the skull only, which is visible, and they do not go into the essence. So there, the secret of Islam is Tasawwuf in the Eastern world, right? And here in the Western world, the secret of Tasawwuf is Islam. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it does not stop anybody from coming into it, because in its broader aspect, there are no restrictions of the religion, of the creed, of the language, or of the culture. This is not the culture, right? This is that divine light which is blown into a human being, that very thing which is timeless and spaceless, which is shared by all the humanity.